Well, good afternoon, Chairman Kim and Senator Taylor and Representative Aycock and all the members of the commission. And we really are honored to be here and thank you for the work you're doing and giving us the opportunity to tell this story. I do have to correct, obviously I'm no longer a superintendent. I was a superintendent for 25 years, 38 years as a public school educator, and served in three very distinct districts within the great state of Texas: the Panhandle, Pampin, the Panhandle, Wichita Falls, and what is truly North Texas, apparently, and then Highland Park in Dallas. I've been on quite a journey with Chris Clute throughout those 25 years. I've experienced all of the various alphabetical combinations of state testing except TABS. So I have been through TEAMS, TOS 1, TOS 2, TAX, the OC phase, and STAR during my tenure as a superintendent. The charge you've been given is to develop a system of assessment and accountability. But I'm going to ask you to indulge me a little bit with a reframing of that and what Dr. Ho presented. And I'm going to ask you to think of assessment as a subsystem. And I think that's an important mental model. And I'm going to ask you to think of the assessment and accountability as a subsystem of a larger system of teaching and learning. And I think, if you do that, it's really important that you think about the fact that the different parts, the different subsystems or components of a system have to be congruent with each other, and they have to contribute to each other. And I will tell you that as you think about the state of Texas, and I really even think about some of the testimony and comments that I heard this morning that I'll reflect on, but let's start with Texas has recognized the vital importance of developing teachers as adult learners. We all recognize the rapid rate of change. We no longer measure change in decades. We measure change in a very short time frame. We expect our staff has to be able to grow and adapt. Our state assessment of teachers, the new model that's out there, is very supportive of that model of professional growth in the adult learner. Do we have an assessment problem or do we have a pedagogy problem? And what I look at is the if you look at the work around congruent models of change, and you start in education and the work that Harvard did around the Educational Leadership Project, you start with the teacher, the skills, aptitudes, and commitments of the teacher. You start with the student, but the question they ask themselves is, how do you ensure that students meaningfully engage in the work of being a student? And the third leg is the content. And what I see in all of our strategies, and what I see in so much of the strategies of the state, is we try to impact content, the standards we talk about, by driving it through the assessment system. That's one part of the instructional core. And I keep thinking of that $90 to $100 million a year we were spending on assessment. Had we invested $50 million of that in really addressing the pedagogy and the disconnect between higher education and what it wants out of students and the way schools typically work and prepare with students, would we be further along in meeting our public policy goals? My belief is yes, but I think it's something that we need to think about. No state has more data to mine than Texas. We've generated enormous amounts. We have some great statewide warehouses around data. We've done good work. Let's use it and use it well.